I think the way Web3 and WordPress will grow together is in a way how the whole ecosystem will grow together.
This is Velocitize Talks, and I'm Lauren Cox. Today, I have Erik Posthuma with me, the Chief Growth Officer at Aleph-Labs. Welcome, Erik.
Thank you so much for having me, Lauren.
Thank you. Yeah. So tell me a little bit about Aleph and what makes Aleph different.
Well, we're a creative engineering company, predominantly focused on building kind of digital transformation, digital experiences. And for us, that's three parts that make up the total experience. There's the product experience, the customer experience, and then the employee experience. So we were having a chat yesterday, and you told me about how you love, traveling, how you love all the food here in Asia as well. Now, when you leave and you go through Changi Airport, one of the most beautiful airports in the world, the product experience is not just what you see in real life, but it's the mobile application, it's the website. So that's kind of, our bread and butter, the core of what we as Aleph do and think about. And the customer experience is kind of the whole track before and after and every single touch point that you come in contact with. So whether it's email or kiosk in location or SMSs or anything like that, tied together through marketing technology. So that's the customer experience that we look at. And then the employee experience is the people that actually use the platforms, like the ones who have to power all this data-driven marketing communication. They need to know how to use this, right? So we design and build for that as well. And when we get all of that right, we get a beautiful total experience for your trip through Changi.
Yeah, wonderful. Yeah. So with customer experience and user experience, is there like a project that you've worked on recently that you're just super proud of that you can tell me about?
Yeah, quite a few. So we're across all of Southeast Asia, physical presence in each individual market. One recently that we did was for Bank Islam, an Islamic bank in Malaysia. Yeah. And it had a reputation as kind of a bit of an older bank, a bit stodgy. And then they came to us saying, we want a cloud-first, a cloud-native bank, really focused on millennials.
Right.
And that's when COVID hit. So we had to do all this research, design, collaboration through that whole period, and that's what the team did very nicely. And we did, design of the mobile application, the whole kind of concepting behind it, and now it just launched a couple of weeks ago.
Oh, congratulations.
Yeah, it's been really great for the team to go through that period of time of making the application, now going live with it. It's really cool.
Yeah. And so do you see a nice consistency now between what you've created and the user experience, like within a bank or?
Well, what I think is special about this project is it's catalyzing the rest of the bank to modernize as well. Yeah. So you see, this was part of their kind of innovation arm, and they're seeing the reaction in the market. And now the rest of the bank is kind of coming to us and the innovation arm of Bank Islam, saying, can we get a piece of that? Can we kind of update the whole bank because of this?
Yeah. So how would you best describe some of the psychology behind web design and how it can improve the user experience?
That's a good question. So we've seen this evolution of web design, of internet design, user experience design, right? When the web first started, there was a very skeuomorphic approach to designing for the web. You take what you have in the real world, like a brochure, a magazine, and you try to put that on the internet. Actually, it's funny, a lot of our colleagues who are in their 20s don't remember that phase of design for the web. Anyway, right? And then, right? So maybe I shouldn't even talk about it. But then the web became much more interactive, right? And so UX had to evolve, design had to evolve for the web. So what we've seen in the last couple of years is a shift from just focusing on UX, so kind of the normalization of design, into a much more kind of non-cognitive, a much more emotional layer on top of design for the web. which is why we've seen kind of an uptick in our illustration team, right? In our UX copywriting team. If you get the right tone of voice right in a mobile application on the web, it really, makes a difference. The motion team to drive those micro interactions when you swipe left or right. So all of that are things that we see growing much more in that field. Yeah.
And do you find, I love that you're saying that those areas are growing as well, and so you're finding that your clients are thinking more about the user experience generally from both ends?
Absolutely.
Quantitative and qualitative, basically.
Yeah. No, absolutely.
So that leads me to think about, where should brands really spend their time and their money at the moment to really accelerate their digital experience?
So every business is different, but I really remember this conversation that our team was having with one of our clients in Indonesia. It was like the number 20-something bank. So there's a lot of banks in Indonesia for own regulatory reasons, and they said, we want to become a top 10 bank, and that's quite a leap. I think one of the biggest decisions at that time was, we're going to cut our above-the-line marketing budget in half. So TVCs, big posters online, etc. And this was, I would say maybe 5 years ago or so. And they said, we're going to shift all of that budget to creating an amazing mobile application, right? So, shifting dollars from paid to your owned product, which has longevity, which sits in your user's hands, right, and builds that relationship between you and the user, that really worked for that bank. I mean, it catalyzed growth in number of customers. It catalyzed them in terms of brand perception in the market. So it's funny, sometimes the best thing to do for a business from a marketing or brand perspective is to do less of that and more of focusing on your own products. But again, that seems maybe like a bit of a self-serving answer, because that's mostly what we do. But like, that's something that we've seen.
Yeah, so it's really getting off paid as an opportunity to convert, and really just focusing on your customer that you have with an amazing experience.
Exactly, and I'm definitely not knocking paid media,
of course,
but by having great control of your owned product, and if you attach the right kind of MarTech and ad tech into that owned product, then your paid media can just be that much more effective. And you can also brief or direct your paid media partners in a way that drives real value for you, because that's what you see in your own product. So that's one way to think about it.
Yeah, awesome. E-commerce. There's been a massive digital transformation for a lot of companies over the last 10 to 15 years around e-commerce. Another big thing that's creeping in is cryptocurrencies.
Right.
So you are quite thoughtful in your approach to Web3, and so I'd love to hear how you think, or when you think, what's your prediction of when big brands will start to use cryptocurrency in their purchase flow?
I think that's a good question. And crystal ball, I think it'll be about 5 years, 4 months, 3 days, and no, I'm joking. But there's a couple angles or ways to look at this. Like, if you look at cryptocurrency, two big angles. You can see it as an asset class, which it is, and it's a growing asset class. You can see it as an infrastructure. If I look at it as initially as an asset class, that seems to be kind of growing everywhere. I think BlackRock is offering it to its customers. Slowly but surely, it'll infiltrate into ETFs, so anyone who invests will have it in there somewhere. So there's that. If you look at it from an infrastructure perspective, like on-chain, maybe only a couple 100 million people use it, for decentralized finance or GameFi, which seems very small now. But the rate of growth there has been pretty phenomenal. So if you kind of extrapolate that rate of growth, then I think within 5 to 10 years, more than 1 billion people could be doing things on chain. Yeah. Now, when you get to 1 billion, then it becomes really quite sizable and large. And I think probably by that time, most people will accept cryptocurrency as part of their payment flow. And I would say like, it doesn't even need massive technical innovation to accept cryptocurrency, like a Coinbase Connect or a bunch of other providers already provide that. Yeah. Stripe, one of the largest growing, will also start doing that. So the infrastructure is already there. It's just the moment they turn it on, like it's everywhere.
It's ready.
It's ready.
To broaden it out then, Web3. Where do you see Web3 and WordPress interact?
So I'll answer that in 2 parts. The first one around Web3 and WordPress, and then I'll expand that because I think the way Web3 and WordPress will grow together is in a way how the whole ecosystem will grow together. WordPress is, has an open source heart, right? So its ethos is very much around collaboration, composability, building in small pieces that you can share as either APIs or components or in a marketplace to everyone. In a way, Web3 is very similar. And if you see in mergers and acquisition, what kills a deal? It's culture. Yeah. But the culture of Web3 and WordPress is very much aligned. There's a whole bunch of DAOs that have popped up specifically around WordPress and Web3 that try to create Web3 components to be integrated onto WordPress. We already see on WordPress you've got these plugins that allow you to accept cryptocurrency or token gate. There are ones being built around creating NFTs directly from WordPress. So it means that if someone's creating something on WordPress, they can now start thinking about Web3 holistically as part of their business model, community model, whatever they're creating. And they don't have to be blockchain native engineers. So there's I think it's a beautiful kind of collaboration. I think it'll grow very much. And that brings me to my second point, which is how we as Aleph approach Web3. I don't think most people will build directly on the blockchain. We're going to work with large partners, like in Web3 and WordPress. There are developers that create plugins, and we're going to use all those different pieces to tie together a larger customer journey. And I think that's how most businesses in the future will, pull together.
Utilize the ecosystem.
Exactly.
Exactly. Way. Awesome. So I love to finish an interview with a question about inspiration. And so when you wake up in the morning, what really inspires you?
We've got this ritual or tradition in Aleph, which is called a daily journal. Or weekly journal, depending on your kind of role. And it's sent quite openly, so to most of the people in the organization. So most of my mornings, I've got like 400, 500 daily journals.
Wow.
I don't read through all of them. Definitely, none of us do. But you can see everyone kind of pouring their heart into that daily journal about what they've achieved, what is blocking them, what are they grateful for. When you read someone who's maybe just joined Aleph and had even just a great lunch with another colleague, they write about it with a small picture of a meal. It sounds small, but I think especially during COVID, you kind of realize that these little human connections can spark bigger things, right?
They do.
So I say that would inspire me.
That's wonderful. Thank you.
Well,
thank you, Erik. And that is Erik Posthuma from Aleph-Labs. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thanks, Lauren.